Hi, everyone. I'm Stephanie Jordan, Local Food Program Manager over here at Sustainable Solano. Welcome to Bounty of the County. This is one of our presentations in a 6-week series that we're doing. And if you've been with us before, you know that Bounty of the County is a celebration of food, farms, independent restaurants, and wineries based right here in Solano County, California. This, as I said, is the 4th presentation out of 6, and they all feature a local farmer, a local chef, and a winemaker. The event goes from, it started in September, on September 1st, and goes through October 10. So just to give you a little background, we originally envisioned Bounty of the County to be a large in-person event at the Solano County Fairgrounds, and obviously things have changed. So we are still hoping to do that in-person event someday, but in the interim are doing these somewhat virtual events to raise public awareness of Solano County farms and who grow specialty crops, as well as the independent restaurants who use those ingredients, and of course our local wineries. And so the farms participating in Bounty of the County are specialty crop farms, and that means that they grow vegetables, fruit, tree nuts, and herbs. And this event also feeds into Sustainable Solano's larger mission, which is to build a more robust local food system here in Solano County that is resilient and more equitable, builds a local economy, and of course is good for the environment. So another purpose of Bounty of the County is to help raise funds for local farms and growers who were in the path of the wildfires that broke out the week of August 17. And there was a lot of loss and damage, most notably along Pleasance Valley Road, west of Vacaville. However, we have seen some amazing efforts and generosity by our local community. And so to help move that needle, Sustainable Solano is, any donations that Sustainable Solano receives in the month of September will get channeled to those farmers, ranchers, and wine growers who were affected by the fires. And if you would like to make a donation toward this fund, please visit sustainablesolano.org. I believe that Allison is going to be posting some links in the chat, so keep your eye out for those. I also want to mention that many wineries and other businesses are who are participating in Bounty of the County are also running some specials to help with these fundraising efforts. And so we hope that you will get out there and purchase some goods from these businesses and help our local farmers at the same time. So just remember, every dollar you spend at a restaurant that sources local ingredients also helps to build our local food system. So before I introduce our featured trio for today, I do have some Zoom housekeeping items. Audience members, you have noticed that you are on mute, and you will stay on mute until we get to the Q&A at the end. But don't worry, we will unmute you for the Q&A. And then if you have questions, there's 2 ways you can deal with those. One is to just hold on to your question and then use the raise hand feature at the end. We will unmute you at that point, and you can ask your question directly to one of our participants and have kind of a conversation, which is great. Another option is to post your question into the chat, and then I will just read it back to the group, and we will answer it that way. One other thing is that if you are on some other view, we recommend that speaker view is the best way to watch this presentation. So up in your right-hand corner of your screen, there should be some options for views. Again, try speaker view, and once we jump over to our chef and do the demo, we will do a spotlight view, and so you'll be able to see better what he's doing today. All right. So I'd like to briefly introduce this week's guests. From Beloved Farm, our farmer is Matthew Engelhart, and he lives on the property with his wife, Tersis. And our restaurant chef is Joey Jaraba, who leads the kitchen at 260 Kitchen and Bar. They're located at 260 Pittman Road in Fairfield. And our featured winery of the week is Suisun Valley Wine Co-op. And I'd like to welcome Sathirapongsasuti from the co-op to the presentation today. All right, we're going to start with our farm. Beloved Farm is on Bucktown Road, west of Vacaville. And so Matthew, go ahead and unmute yourself. Matthew, you're one of the few truly regenerative farms in the area. And I think people probably understand, organic at this point, and likely even the idea of sustainable, but I'd really like you to talk a little bit more about what regenerative agriculture is and why it's important.
Yeah, so regenerative agriculture is the idea that we can extract calories from our property, in our case 21 acres, and export that to customers, but at the same time, every year after year, our property becomes more fertile, has more life-giving capacity, has more water holding capacity. So every year, life is on the increase rather than the decrease. What most people don't understand is that agriculture is mostly a degenerative process, and it's usually extractive, and much property that's under agricultural management is actually losing fertility year after year rather than gaining. So regenerative agriculture is the idea of more life, how we grow our food, and using the architecture of nature to grow our food and increase the fertility.
So do you have any particular strategies or tools or methods that you use on the farm to accomplish that?
Well, for sure. I would say the overreaching principle would be minimal disturbance. That tillage is not the friend of the farmer or the soil or the earth. Tillage is, while it's hardwired in our brains as to be a noble process, every time we disturb the architecture, the soil, we call it the soil horizon, and flip over that soil and destroy the home of those microbes, carbon is oxidized. We dry out the soil, we oxidize the carbon, and we are actually destroying the soil ecology. So the number one principle is, how the heck are we going to grow food without disturbing the soil? We have a mantra at Beulah Farm: the mother is modest, she likes to keep herself covered.
That's great. Which probably leads us to cover crops then too, and keeping something in the ground at all times and not having any bare earth, right?
Absolutely. Always the ground's either covered with a litter or with a live plant. That would be the strategy, yeah.
Got it, yeah. And so I know that your farm is more than just food producing. You do have some agritourism opportunities over there, like farm tours for kids, and I know you recently did an open farm day. Can you tell us a little bit about some of your other agritourism offerings?
Yeah, so we have we have hospitality, we have guest rooms, Airbnb, and we also have farm events. We have farm tours for kids on Wednesdays. We have wine tastings and farm tours on Saturday for adults. We have classes in sourdough bread making. We have classes in baking pesto, stuff like that. And and then last Sunday we had a fall event, a pumpkin fall event. We're gonna have an apple pressing day in October, cider making. So all kinds of events. If you look at the Beulah Farm website, there's lots going on there.
Cool, that's great. And then, as a regenerative farm, I know that you're part of, I would almost call it kind of a movement called Kiss the Ground. It's an organization and it's also a film. Some of the people on here might be familiar with it, but if you could speak a little bit about that, that would be great.
Yeah, well, my son 7 years ago was in New Zealand, and he heard a gentleman speak about the opportunity of regenerative agriculture as a way to cool the planet and impact climate change. And he decided, he got the download that it was his life's mission, and he started an organization called Kiss the Ground, which is a nonprofit that is an advocacy group for regenerative agriculture. And about 5 years ago, he started making a film called Kiss the Ground. And today, of all days, today it's being released on Netflix. It's narrated by Woody Harrelson, and it's got plenty of movie stars in it, but it's really explains to the general public the possibility of regenerative agriculture. And it even got reviewed in the New York Times today, and I encourage everyone to watch it on Netflix. Again, it's called Kiss the Ground. And in the meantime, he has received a grant from General Mills of $600,000 to train 20 farmers in their supply chain in no-till regenerative agriculture. So the needle is moving slowly, but there is interest at the higher levels of the industry.
That's great. All right, we'll check it out. And in the meantime, if you want to see it in action here locally, you guys can go visit Be Love Farm, because I know that you're part of their network of farmers who are tied into that.
Yeah, please come. And we have a store, on-farm store, self-serve, that's open 7 days a week.
Great. And so speaking of your products, things that you're selling, what are you providing to Chef Joey at 260 these days?
Well, today it's butternut squash and arugula for pesto, and some zucchini and some figs and some pears and some sun sprouts, I believe. Yeah, I think that's it. Cool.
All right. Thank you so much, Matthew.
You're welcome.
So we're going to hop over to Chef Joey. This is Chef Joey Jaraba of 260 Kitchen and Bar. And Chef Joey, before we get into the cooking demo, I would love for you to tell us a little bit just about the restaurant, how and why you got started or ended up there. What's the background?
All right, background, 260 Kitchen Bar. The name comes from the address, 260 Pittman Road. Type of food we sell here is, so close, sorry. Type of food we sell here is Nouveau American. So basically, the menu is about, my 24 years in the culinary industry. Worked at different restaurants. Worked at a French restaurant, Italian, American. I mean, you named it. I've worked at different restaurants. Started at different restaurants. Got to work at Food and Wine, Pebble Beach, and various food and wines. Got to work at Super Bowl 50s. That was exciting. So, basically the menu is like what I put together in my journey. So, a lot of different things, a lot of exciting things on the menu.
Yeah, I noticed that from your menu. If you guys have not checked it out, you will definitely see Chef Joey's background and influences on that menu. It's amazing. It's really varied. I mean, I can tell that your background is, anything from Italian eateries to pubs to high-end, cuisine. It's really got a lot to offer. So if you haven't been there, definitely check it out.
The way I explain it is it's a lot of French, Italian with a heavy Pacific Rim influence. I did go to Culinary Academy in Sacramento, Little Wolf Culinary Academy. So constantly trained French chef. So that's a lot of influence in that. I am Filipino, so I throw a lot of Filipino flavors in there too. So yeah, I mean, come and try us out. Our menu is exciting. We're going to be changing it around, so nothing boring. So a little bit of everything for everyone.
Right. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience judging for the American Culinary Chef's Best Award in San Francisco?
Okay. Yeah. So basically, like when you go to the store, there's there's a bunch of different items and different brands and national brands, and then you see that seal that says "Tasted by Chefs to be the best." So I was one of those chefs that tasted and judged the items, and then so it's a national product. We bring products in, and then we figure out attributes and what makes the product what it is, and then we rate every single one of those to the attributes. It's a blind tasting, so it's a fun thing that I did for a couple of years, and and then you actually have to pass a lot of tests for that. There's this test. You gotta taste like 40, 50 different things, and you gotta, compare them to which, what they are. So they really test your palates. They really test your knowledge on products in the industry.
Cool. All right, thanks. So tell us what you have cooking for this Bounty of the County dish. This is like,
Okay.
there's a lot going on this one.
Yeah, today's the first day of fall. Yeah, first day of fall. So I mean, there's a lot of same thing, kind of like what Lindsay did. It is pork. We're going to be working with a pork tenderloin, and then there's a lot of fall flavors like the butternut squash, the figs. So and then you still got a lot of the summer stuff too, like the pears, the zucchini and squash, and then the sunflower sprouts. So I kind of mixed it out all in. And so, there's a lot of flavors going on, but what I try to do is try to get a good combination, so everything complements each other, not fighting each other. So, yeah. So this is the dish. Like again, there's a lot on there, but it does complement each other. So you'll like it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Take
So,
it away. Show us. I know you had some things pre-prepped and
all right. So
some things to show us. So go for it.
okay. So right here, Sean, bring it in. We have pork tenderloin. So the pork tenderloin is a little thinner. It's not the pork loin, so it's a lot more tender, a lot more juicier. And then what I did was I marinated that overnight with arugula pesto, and I've taken Matthew's arugula and basically made a pesto out of it. So usually you get a basil pesto, and the components in here is basil, garlic, pine nuts, and olive oil and Parmesan cheese. But instead of pine nuts, I used regular peanuts. Again, I did this pretty much for marinating the pork. Okay, so basically that's the pork tenderloin, and then the squash. You got a yellow squash and zucchini squash, and I just basically did that as a ribbons, really thin ribbons. Okay, I used a mandolin, so I didn't use my knife for that. There's a mandolin that a lot of chefs use to get that intricate cut, the thin cut. We had the butternut squash. So again, this is more of a fall item. Butternut squash has a hard shell. So the trick to cooking this is pretty much you just got to cut it in half and then scoop out all the seeds and then put it face down on a sheet tray or a cookie sheet and then throw it in the oven for like 15 minutes at 350 degrees, maybe even an hour. Check it out. Basically just stick like a skewer or something in it. And if it comes through really soft, then it's done. And then I scooped everything out. And then I made this butternut squash puree right here. And it's food processor, basically salt and manufacturing cream. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna heat that up. So we get a nice puree. Okay, another component is figs. So basically what I did with the figs is I cut them in quarters, and then I didn't do anything else to it. Just lay them face up. You gotta lay them face up because they're gonna stick to the sheet tray. And I baked it 350 degrees for like 50 minutes to an hour. So you get a nice chewiness to it, a lot of sweetness to it. The pears, I just didn't want to throw a pear on a plate. So what I did with the pear pretty much is peeled it and then took out the seeds, and then I used rice vinegar and a lot of sugar. So you get that acidity on this dish because you got a lot of components here that are rich, and you got a sweetness and everything. So this kind of cuts that up. And then another component here is a charred celery. Basically julienne the celery, and I put it in a very extreme hot pan, and it gives it a nice texture when you're eating the whole dish, and then a little bit of smokiness to it. Okay, and then the last but not least, this is sunflower sprouts. So basically it comes out of sunflower, and if you taste it, it tastes a little bit like sunflower and like a green sunflower seeds. So we put this on top, so it gives it a nice earthiness flavor. All right, so that's all the components to it. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get the pork tenderloin. All right, we're gonna go in a nice hot pan. What we're going after is a really, really hot pan because we want to put a hard sear on it. And the reason why you want to put a hard sear on it is because you want the pork tenderloin to be moist on the inside. So what that does is it basically encapsulates the juices in there, and then yeah, and then we'll throw in a 500-degree oven. So the first thing we do is put some oil down. It's a hot pan. You can tell it's going to start smoking. Okay, and then we're getting the pork tenderloin. And that's the crust, the arugula pesto. Again, it's hot. And the trick to it so it doesn't stick is you got a nice hot pan. And as soon as you put it down, it's going to make a loud noise and you got to shake it so it doesn't stick. Yeah, I mean, this is not a non-stick pan, so that's the trick to making sure your products don't stick to the pan. I'm going to get the oil underneath there so there's a nice brown, hard sear. What you're looking for is caramelization. That's what that brown stuff is for. That's a lot of flavor as well. Gonna add a little salt and pepper. So this is it's a round piece of meat, but right now it's kind of like shaping like a triangle. So what I'm doing is I'm putting a hard sear in like two sides. So you got brownness, so you want to focus right there. And then we're gonna put it on this side, which is not seared. And basically, when you put it in a 500-degree oven, that's gonna make a nice crust. Okay, well, and that'll go in for about 8 to 10 minutes. It's a little thicker piece of meat. So next thing, is we're gonna have, what I did was I put the pickled pears, the figs, and then the charred celery, and basically we're gonna warm that up. And at the same time, we're gonna get these zucchini and squash, and we're just gonna throw it in the hot water for like 20 to 30 seconds, really quick. It's so thin, it's like you really don't have to cook it.
Joey, is your water salted in the pot with the zucchini ribbons?
Yes, it is. So I didn't want, that's a good question. Because I didn't want the salt, the zucchini, because it's so thin. I don't want to add too much salt to it. So as you saw, that's pretty much done already. So I'll put this up in the window while I'm waiting for this to heat up. We got the pickled pears. Yep. All right, so we're waiting for that. And then I've also gotten the butternut squash puree. So that manufacturing that I did in there, it made it nice and creamy and buttery. So for the people that don't know what butter is made out of, it's made with heavy cream. So I didn't actually add any butter to that. Okay, so now we're gonna plate. Okay, and we're gonna move this out of the way here. And we already have a pork tenderloin cooked to save some time. So that's already pulled out of the oven. It's already been rested. So you don't want to cut into a piece of meat that's just been out of the oven or it's been just cooked. You want to let it rest. You want the juices to like stay in the meat. So what we're gonna do, basically cut this into 3. Okay. And then we're gonna be layering the butternut squash. I mean, it doesn't have to be that intricate. So what you're doing is basically laying a better butternut squash. Make sure you clean your plate here. Okay, we're gonna be putting the pork loin. Okay. Next, and then we're gonna put zucchini strips, basically just laying this out so you get a nice distribution of colors. There you go. Okay, and then we got the yellow squash. Again, the water's already been salted on this, so pretty much got a nice flavor. Organic vegetables. I don't know if you've ever used organic vegetables. Anybody's ever used organic vegetables? There's a big difference in flavor. Flavor just pops as far as, you know, it doesn't seem like it's muted like, you know, like the regular vegetables. Okay,
I think this crowd probably does eat organic, most of most of us, and yeah, it's looking really beautiful already. Okay. You're not even done yet.
Yeah, we're not done yet. So we got the pears. Again, we're just, you know, putting that here and there. And then we got the figs. Figs are awesome, especially with like fall flavors. It really brings out the, you know, the sweetness. It's like not too sweet, but it really complements the pork. Okay, one more right there. And then again, charred celery basically adds some texture, and then a smoky flavor. When I charred it, it was at an extremely hot pan. There was a lot of smoke everywhere. So, but that's it right there as far as the different components. And then we're gonna add a little bit of this. It's not the marinade. This is a fresh arugula pesto, and basically just, you know, just put that here and there. Okay. And then the sunflower sprouts. Okay. Nothing much to it. A little bit salt and pepper. And then we have this olive oil and lemon mix. Okay. And we're gonna toss that. We call it a little salad. And then just basically just put that right on there. And that, and for a little more color, a little more microgreens. That's bull's blood microgreens, a little bit of red. And voila, that's the dish. That's our arugula crusted pesto. And it's got amazing produce from Beloved Farms. So come and check it out. We're gonna have it for this week and next week, $25. Okay, and Paul's gonna talk about what'll pair with it, and that's it.
Okay, awesome. That is beautiful. Making me really hungry.
Well, you can stop by anytime. Yes.
Do you tell us really quick? Do you know your hours offhand? Restaurant hours?
Yeah, we open at 11:30 every day, and then Sunday and Monday we close at 8 o'clock, and then Thursday through Saturday we close at 9 o'clock. And starting today, I guess we went on red, on the red instead of purple. So we have in store dining now at 25% capacity. So, you know, just in time for the weather change. It's getting windy out here in Cordelia, Fairfield, Cordelia. And, you know, it's going to start to rain. So, yeah, just in time today, starting today, you can sit indoors. But limited seats, so you got to come in early.
That's right. And you do have outdoor seating too, I know. So
yes, we still do have outdoor seating. If you want to sit out in the rain, if it rains.
Right.
But yeah.
Great. Thank you, Joey. All right. Fa, over to you. What do we drink with this beautiful, amazing dish?
Yeah, this amazing dish, I think it goes really well. I think it's like pork tenderloin is sort of a versatile meat, right? You can actually pair lighter red wine or white wine with it. So what I picked for this, and I think this is going to work perfectly for our occasion here, is a Zinfandel. Not sure you can. Okay, well, can you see it? Okay. All right, you know, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. So can you see it?
Yes, that looks great.
Perfect. So this Zinfandel right here in the middle is from Shale Peak Vineyards, Solano County. And so, you know, you might be thinking Zinfandel, you might be thinking about a bigger, bolder, even sweet wine, but this is not that. This is a lighter red wine Zinfandel coming out from top of Mount Vaca. So it's a light and elegant, and as you notice, it's actually from 2014. So it's got quite a bit of age in it, which actually make it really elegant and perfect right now. The tannin has really fallen off and really leaving a lighter wine. So I think it would go really well with the fig component of it, with the charred celery component of it, even with the butternut squash, and obviously with the pork tenderloin.
Cool. Awesome. So I want to back up a little bit. So the Suisun Valley Wine Co-op features these three different wine labels. I mean, are they three separate wineries, or what's the relationship between all of those?
Yes.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
That's right. So these are three separate wineries, but I call them micro wineries because these are very small. Each winery only really make a few hundred cases per year. Which in the grand scheme of things, you know, when we talk about Gallo, who makes like 500,000 cases, right? So we are small guys, and as a result, but it's a shared tasting room that the three wineries come together, and we rotate the tasting staff. So we open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and on a given day when you come, you will actually find the actual winemaker, the grower, or the owners there. Interacting with you, telling you really the true story behind the wine, and you can really get really deep about the story of it. So if you can still see my screen, this is the exterior of it. Is in the beautiful old building that used to be Pioneer fruit stand, actually. And we occupied it next door to that. We now have an outdoor space. As you can see, with the COVID, we really built up the outdoor space, which I think I really quite love. But the indoor is really nice as well. You know, for when we can do that, love to see people there. The three labels that are there are Sunset Cellars, Blacksmith Cellars, and King Andrew's Vineyard. King Andrew's Vineyard is the one that make Shale Peak Vineyards labeled wine, and the Shale Peak Vineyard is the wine that is honoring the wine coming out of Mount Vaca, so Pleasant Valley area actually, and the story about this wine, this particular wine Zinfandel we're pouring as part of the event Bounty of the County, is that the vineyard was affected, or it was lost to the fire, to the LNU fire. That overnight, the picture that you see in the label right there, that's a painting of the house and the vineyard, and the fire just basically crept and engulfed the area. So this is the last of that wine that we have now, and each of the wineries sort of contributed together, putting together a pack, what we call a fire relief pack, that we sell, and proceeds will actually go to Solano, Sustainable Solano's Stronger Together funds. Let's see. So, but you know, these and micro wineries. So these are the faces that you will see. Myself, the middle one here is Roger King, who's the owner and winemaker and grower of this Shale Peak Vineyard, King Andrew's Vineyard, of the Zinfandel that we're pouring. And you know, this is just to get you guys update on this is harvest season, and we all quite busy in the winery and the vineyard. So this is from earlier, a couple of weeks ago, when we were picking early in the morning. You can see the beautiful fog draping over Green Valley Hills area, picking Carignan right here, beautiful scene, you know, pickers. This is winemakers of Sunset Cellars, Doug Sparks and Cusco Sparks, who, you know, we are really hands-on winemaking. So you can see these, we do everything mostly by hand. Just really get a sense of what's going on. This is myself, just this past weekend, we pressed our first wine. Yeah, so.
Cool. Sorry, I think I dropped off Zoom there for a second, but I came back when you were talking about the promotion. So yeah, you've got the Fire Relief 3-pack, and And that's happening through the end of September. I would say you could even do it the first week of October if you want, but the proceeds from that will go towards Sustainable Solano's Fire Relief Fund. And if you could just tell us again the address and where you're located if you haven't already.
Yes, the address is 4495 Suisun Valley Road in Suisun Valley. So if you just basically drive north on Suisun Valley, you basically cannot really miss us. We are on the left, right past, after you pass the cemetery before you get to Larry's Produce. So sometimes we like to say, when you go to Larry's to get produce, stop by, get some wine.
Right. Great. And then I just have another question about the different wineries. Do they each tend to produce the same varietal fairly consistently? Like, for example, does Shale Peak Vineyards or King Andrews typically always make a Zinfandel, or do things get switched up a lot? Like, how does that work?
So it depends on the style and the philosophy of the winery. So each of the three wineries is slightly different, which is really a great thing for me. So Blacksmith, for example, is a winemaker. So he doesn't grow any fruit. Therefore, I think his offering tend to change year to year, depends on what fruit is best or what is available. Sunset is King Andrews, on the other hand, he is a grower. He's a grower first. He was, in fact, Roger King was the past president of the Suisun Valley Wine Grower Association for many years. He has a few vineyards in Suisun Valley and elsewhere in Solano. So his offering tends to be more consistent. So for example, he has white wine, this Albarino, that's amazing and is always going to be there. Zinfandel, we have it every year up to this point, but this is going to be the last vintage of it. But otherwise, he also has Cabernet. All three of us make Cabernet Sauvignon. Sunset Cellars, this Cabernet Sauvignon Afterglow that we're offering is the vineyard that we manage ourselves. So we do have that consistently, as well as Barbera, which is our flagship wine that we have consistently.
Okay, great. Thanks for explaining all of that. And so people can find your wines at the tasting room, and you also do online sales, is that correct?
So we only do online sales sporadically, so only on special occasion like the 3-packs. So if you're interested in getting the 3-packs for $64, which is basically the base price of the wine, that is the one that we have offering. You can buy online and come pick up at the tasting room, or you can have it shipped to your address, which is inside of California, as well as a few selected states outside.
Okay, great, awesome. Thank you very much. I think we will move on to audience Q&A. So let's see here. I think I need you to.
Oh yes, I will stop.
Unshare.
Got it.
Let's see here if I can get back to what I'm supposed to look at here. All right. Yes, while you're thinking of questions, before I forget, we do have a survey for you to fill out. This will be for the audience members. It helps us a lot when it's time to create reports later on. So it's really short, 6 or 7 questions. And if you haven't filled it out, Allison is posting a link. And I'm just going to see if there are any questions for our guests today. Let's see here. Not sure if there is. Let's see, Allison, I'm not seeing any raised hands, although I'm trying to find.
There are not any raised hands at this time. So
Okay.
If anyone has a question, please use the raise hand button. There is a question about whether Be Love offers the CSA box that just came in the chat. Anyone else has questions they want to put in the chat, Stephanie can ask them for you.
Yep, I see that question now too. So thanks, Allison. So yeah, Matthew, does Be Love offer a CSA box or some kind of little package?
No, we don't. At the moment, we don't. But come visit our store and make your own CSA box.
That's right. I stopped in last week, and there are lots of fun fall goodies, and you also offer some prepared goods. There was like peach crisp, no, not peach, pear crisp and a crumble, and I think, do you guys still do the is it sourdough bread dough, or just the bread itself?
Generally on Mondays at 2 o'clock, there's sourdough bread, wood-fired sourdough bread. Often there's pizzas. Yeah, lots of things. Pesto, hot sauce. It goes on and on. Yeah.
Right. They have a cooler.
Plus produce, eggs, wine, olive oil. Yeah.
All right.
And our best-selling thing is our paletas or popsicles, homemade.
Good.
Which the kids love.
Yes. I see a question coming in for Fa. Can people reserve a tasting outside on the weekend?
Yeah, it will be by an appointment. So you can send, and I would ask that you send an email or drop me a voicemail. If you call the tasting room, there will be a voicemail you can drop. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so I think Allison was just sharing the website. That's where you can register for our upcoming Bounty of the County presentations. Also, there's more details on all of the promotions that are happening, which go toward the Fire Relief Fund. And again, a big thank you to our guests today, Matthew, Joey, and Fa. It was great having you here. And next week's Bounty of the County presentation, we have the Barn and Pantry in Dixon with Eat Well Farm, also in Dixon, and Sky Ranch Estate. So hope to see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.